And we're going to be talking about battle companies, Arnor and Angmar, and the rescue scenario. But first of all, how are you doing, Stephen?
I'm doing very well. Yeah, very well. Been busy working. And how are you? How are you? What you been up to?
I have been painting lots of models. Mainly, I can't remember the last time I painted a Lord of the Rings model. I've been painting lots of 40k stuff because I still haven't played 40k, but my goodness me, the models are fun to paint.
Yeah.
I've just put together my winged hive tyrant, so
Nice.
it's huge. It's huge. But for balance, I just got there's a fell beast here, which is basically the same thing, but the stat still needs painting. Anyway, without further ado, let us dive into what has been going on in Middle Earth strategy battle game world. And for once, there's actually some stuff going on.
There is. It's rare. This is our once a year.
I believe it's getting a little bit of love. I'm going to admit, I was slightly blown away by the. Have you seen the new Prince Imrahil model there? They've got coming out with non-specified date. That looks beautiful. I mean, that looks like a really, really awesome model, and it gives me some hope that there's going to be some new Lord of the Rings stuff coming, because it feels weird that they would do just Prince Imrahil if they're not going to then do some more stuff that's Dol Amroth based. Some new Swan Knights or Man at Arms of Dol Amroth or Clansmen of Lamadon, all the ones you hated when I ran my Dol Amroth company a few months back.
A really painful company to play against. It was.
They were filth. I pretty much decimated you. It wasn't very much fun for you, I don't think. I'm sorry about that. But they were strong.
It's all part of it. It's all part of it. I think one thing you find with this game is over time is you start finding the battle companies that balance against each other. When you play a game, you can have a balanced game against I don't think I would take Isengard against Dol Amroth ever again. But is there, is don't you? You got to learn it. You got to play it. You got to learn it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that with that particular matchup, the kind of fight 4 that you get with Isengard across the board is normally really strong because you're normally fighting against a lot of fight 3 stuff. But it was too easy to get stuff that was fight 4 and above for Dol Amroth, and then all of a sudden and then your defense was quite stuck. So yeah, it wasn't the most amount of fun for you. But you also told me that there's something coming up in White Dwarf.
White Dwarf. They've actually the next issue of White Dwarf is they've dedicated 30 pages or 30 some pages, they say in the article, to Middle Earth battle strategy. So obviously with the new game that's come out, they're gonna have a battle report in it, and hopefully tease some more models. I'd like to think so. But yeah, it's good.
So yes, definitely Rohan Riders coming, which was felt like an absolute definite thing that was going to happen, having made Rohan the front and center of the new game. But I'm interested to see if there's going to be anything else. I mean, like I said, there might be something Dol Amroth based. Maybe some other Rohan heroes. I don't know. I don't know what updates there'll be, but it's always nice when it's got some love. But it would feel weird if there isn't going to be something Dol Amroth other than the Prince Imrahil. But if it's just the Prince Imrahil, then it's a pretty glorious model. I'm just wondering how much they're gonna set that back. And hello to everyone who's saying hello. And good evening as well to Andrew. Much more formal. Let's keep it formal here.
Very highbrow here. No, I think it's it's promising from even just from fortnight ago when we're like, I don't know if we're going to get any more, to suddenly seeing that those kind of things come out, and it's steadily growing. I think it's, if you think about all the other game systems that Warhammer have and how they kind of slowly piece and grow those systems, like you think like when Necromunda came back, how long it took for all of that to come out. When you think Blood Bowl when it came, how long it took for all those. I feel like Middle Earth battle strategy is going to be following that path, hopefully, because there's such a love of it. There's these people here who are listening to us talk about it, and the game is so old, like, so it's just it's this kind of thing, like, so hopefully they do continue with it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and they have finally announced that there is definitely going to be another book, which we already knew, but the fact they've mentioned it must mean that it can't be too far away, which means that there will be stats for every single model in the game, I think, then. And then at that point, that is when we can start wondering whether there's going to be something with battle companies or what the community edition decides to do with the new stats as they come up. But it's going to take a while to work out what balance looks like. So yeah, it's interesting, but it's getting some love, and that's by no means a bad thing. Right, so we didn't discuss a scenario last time because we were discussing quite at length what the new edition was going to mean. So that means we're going to discuss the rescue scenario today. So allow me to explain what the rescue scenario is. Whether they have been... You do some scrolling, I'll do some reading. Whether they have been lured astray or simply got lost in the wilderness, a hero has become separated from the rest of their battle company. Seeing this as an easy opportunity to slay the hero, their enemies seek to cut them down, provided they do not suffer heavy losses in the effort. So, are you on the page yet?
No, I'm not right.
Okay. So we have an interesting setup where we have a 4 foot by 4 foot board. Starting positions. Both players roll a d6 when the player who scored the lowest becoming the defender. The defender then selects one hero from their battle company that they must rescue and place them in the center of the board, along with up to 2 warrior models from their battle company that are deployed within 3 inches of that hero. The attacker then places their entire battle company within 15 inches of any board edge, and then the remaining defenders they arrive at the end of turn 1, I think. So it's an interesting setup. A setup not like any other thing. Are you there yet to join in the picture?
Yeah. I'm here with it, and I'm thinking that's. And now is if you're attacking and you've got some horses, you're straight in there. So
it's not a fun thing to play against if you are if you're the defender and you don't have cavalry and they have got cavalry.
If you're dwarves and they're Rohan.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, it's the sort of one that can be a little bit unbalanced. Is that basically let me just continue this. The rest of the defender's battle company moves onto the board from the opposite board edge to the attacker at the end of the first turn. So at the end of the first turn, they get to be on the board edge.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting one because there has to be the balance between the 2 different companies to a degree. But you can't be good at every single scenario, which is why that it's good to have different companies. But when I have played this one, I've typically chosen my hardest to kill hero because that just makes sense, because them winning or you lose if that hero dies. There's no point in making anything but your hardest to kill hero, whether that's one with the most fate points, one with the highest defense, or whatever else. And then the 2 warriors either side of that makes sense for them to be ones with shields potentially, because if they just plonk them in front of them, and if they do get charged, and then maybe you do just shield for a turn just to whilst your hero runs in the opposite direction, or if your hero's got a horse, then he can just ride off. So it's it's you don't want to make it too unfun to play against, but at the same time it's about winning. So
I mean, well, the thing is, it says attacker victory is obviously if the defender's hero has been slain. Defender victory is if the attacker's battle company has been reduced to less than 50%. So it's been able to. You've got to kill quite a few models, and keep your main guy out the way, like, you know. So it depends how you play it. You either go all for it, charge, and hope you get to him before he gets to them, or do you play it tactically clever? Like, if you're attacking, do you look at looping around? You could go in for the entire battle company kill. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's that kind of way around.
Yeah, it's one where, like you said, the mobility of your army is paramount. So if you've got something which can go on a horse or a camel or a warg, then you know that's your main hero. Cool, run away, and then you can just regroup and then attack as you want to. And then it comes a bit of a just a bit of a slugging match, like to the death type thing.
Yeah,
which isn't quite as much fun. I think it's the sort of. I remember me and Ben playing this scenario before, where I was Far Harad and he was dwarves, I think, and we had loads of scenery down, and it made it so much more fascinating to have all these kind of different, because you could kind of run away a bit, but there were certain areas that my camels couldn't get to, and there were certain, like, you know, bottlenecks and things which then changed where you could run to and how beneficial it was actually to run away. Because although it's with the full width of the board, you can, even with dwarves on short legs, you can still kind of start circling around the edge, because because the one dude you've got to kill has to start in the center. So yeah,
no, definitely. I think
it could also be done in one turn if you've got good shooting as well. So.
I mean, you do have that. I think this is kind of one of those games that definitely Terrain plays. Again, another nice thing about battle companies is how you set that board up and how thematic you decide to make this. You know, it could be, you know, your defender is walking down a path and there's literally a bottleneck and there's bushes either side of it. You know, and if you dare get chased by cavalry, they can start diving out, you know, into, you know, the open field, whatever. Do you get me? Like, you know, you can create things or just go through a town or such like this, and suddenly, you know, it's tight winding corners, there's no line of sight to shoot them, it's all of these kind of bits and pieces. You can dive out of the way so you can't get charged, and suddenly, you know, how you play tactically on it. So I think it's one of those ones that can be really boring if it's just big open battlefield. Just, I'm going to catch you in the open, let's see how it goes, because it just comes, you know, a tit for tat. Or you can make it as interesting as you want. And I think it's one of those ones, again, being someone who likes to play thematically, I would put as much into it to get as much out of it.
Yeah, I think you want to be setting it up in a really fun way that you agree upon, and then you do your dice roll to see how the board gets set up. So, you know, it's nice and fair. So it's a scenario that I rate quite highly. I think it as you know, I like things being a little bit different, and you know, this is certainly a different scenario to quite a lot of the other ones. There's there's a comment there. I can't make sense of it.
No, I can't either.
No, if you can clarify that comment, then, you know, I'll respond. But other than that, I don't know what you're talking about. Right, so I give that scenario a 7.5 out of 10.
I think it's sitting at a 7 for me in that kind of area there. So
yeah. So it's a good one. Not my favourite, but it's a good one. Right, which brings us on to our good company of the week, which is the Forces of Arnor, which means I've got to bring my best Sean Bean. I cannot tell you the level of regret. I mean, I swear I say this every single time about my regret in doing this the first time, and
no pity.
You bastard. Arnor. Is that Arnor, you bastard. Arnor was once a great realm formed by Elendil in the Second Age. However, by the dwindling years of the Third Age, Arnor had fallen into ruin, a shadow of its former glory. Yet, In days gone by, even as it fell into despair, the kings of Arnor would send out patrols of their warriors to protect the realm against the swarms of fell creatures under the Witch King's command. Those who led these small patrols were warriors who were destined to command Arnor's armies, but did not yet possess the experience required to lead. You bastard. They would set out from Fornos with their loyal companions to fend off the orc raiding parties that threaten their home. These war bands were also used by the kings of old to explore their crumbling ruins that were once Arnor's cities, abandoned long ago in search of heirlooms of their forebears. That wasn't too bad. Golem's going to kill me later.
So the starting battle company of Arnor is 5 warriors of Arnor and 2 rangers of Arnor.
Fascinating, just the most fascinating initial army setup there. And your reinforcements are going to cost you 3 influence points. 1 will get you nothing. 2 will get you a hobbit archer. 3 or 4 will get you a warrior of Arnor. 5 will get you a ranger of Arnor with spear, and 6 will get you a ranger of Arnor. And I don't understand why 5 and 6 are that way around, because 5 is better than 6. But, you know, anyway, that's how it's set up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that makes no sense. The advancements. So a warrior of Arnor becomes a Fornost veteran. A ranger of Arnor becomes a ranger of Eregion.
Aragion.
Aragion. I just got Tolkien shout. A hobbit archer because of Aragion scout. A ranger of Aragion is a forest veteran, is a warrior of Arnor that has bodyguard special rule. A ranger of Aragion.
You are looking at a different version of the community rules to me.
Am I?
You are.
Well, this has been updated. Let me find this then.
what version? Which version are you looking at?
I don't know.
Who's behind? Is it me or is it you?
Possibly me. Let me go find it. We're doing so well.
If you scroll right up to the top, what version are you looking at?
I've got a feeling it's going to be me. It's the old one, version 3. I'm old. Why have I got that one up?
Goodness me, Stephen.
That's embarrassing, isn't it?
Well, I will continue. Whilst you get yourself sorted, I will. I'll cut it out, or I probably won't bother. It's funny not to. So, a warrior of Arnor becomes a knight of Arnor. This has been updated because of the Rise of Angmar supplement, I think, that came out towards the end of last year, in which Arnor finally got some cavalry. So, I think that's where the issue has come in. So, warrior of Arnor becomes a knight of Arnor. A ranger of Arnor becomes a ranger of Eregion. A hobbit archer becomes an Eregion scout. And in terms of those couple of upgrades there to ranger of Eregion and Eregion scout, that is exactly the same thing, but they have the woodland creature special rule, which pretty lame, if I'm honest, but there we go. Are you up to speed, or shall I carry on?
I've got it downloaded now. I just got to get back to the page a bit.
Okay, so the company special rules that hobbits do not count towards your bow limit, which is interesting. And the company hero upgrade, defend the north. It is the hero's sworn duty to protect the realm of Arnor, no matter the cost. The hero will automatically pass the first courage test it must take for their force being broken. So that's kind of helpful for hanging around a bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Are you with us yet?
I am with you. I'm just thinking there's a bit, I mean, apart from the company special rule, the Hobbit not counting towards the bow limit, which is handy to have, because, but again, they're honestly shots. Let's face it, their bows aren't,
their bows aren't great, but they hit on 3s, I think. So, it's not, it's as good as good as any shooting out there.
Yes. So I am back together with you. So yeah. So you want me to go through them?
Let's do the stat lines. So you go for the Warrior of Arnor.
So the Warrior Arnor is heavy armor, sword, shield, and spear. And they also have hatred to Angmar, so it's +1 to wound models with Angmar keyword. Their movement is 6, fight is 4, 3+, strength is 3, defense is 6, lovely. Attacks 1, wounds 1, and courage 2. So.
Yes, indeed. And Ranger of Arnor has just got armor, sword, and bow with the optional war gear of spear, which is why it's confusing that they have it that way around on the the list there. But anyway, they have a fight 4 and a 3+ for shooting, strength 3, defense 4, attacks 1, wounds 1, and courage 3.
Indeed. So. Hobbit Archer is a dagger and a short bow. They are resistant to magic, and they can also throw stones at an 8-inch range, strength 1. Then the stat line, their movement is 4 inches, as fast as their hairy little feet can go. Their fight is 2, 3+, strength 2, defense 3, attacks 1, wounds 1, and courage 3. So,
yeah, that's hobbits for you. And I made a mistake. I realised as you were reading out the Warrior of Arnor thing, they are 4+ for shooting, not 3+. Okay. So we are cooking with gas with everything that's going so perfectly well tonight.
Look, it's 1 for 1. Like we're equal. Like it cancels out.
Yeah, completely equal. I definitely put it on opposite sides of the scales. There's no movement. It's just solid. Definitely the same. So a Knight of Arnor is the same as a Warrior of Arnor, except they have a horse and they have a war spear. So that's what a Knight of Arnor is.
And then Ranger of Region is a ranger with woodland creature special rule, and same with the Scout of Region.
Yeah.
Hobbit Archer, woodland creature.
What do you think of those?
I mean, straight off the back, Warrior of Arnor, fight 4 and defense 6, and then obviously the shield. So, quite good out the gate, just as a start. Ranger of Arnor, 3+ on the shoot. Again, it's just a standard bow, isn't it? So it's not that strong, is it? But yeah, no, I think it's you get 5 Warriors of Arnor, so you got quite strong off the bat there, and then also the fact that they can get on horses is quite nice. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Arnor Battle Company before, I don't remember ever really doing anything with it. I mean, I think I just skipped over because it didn't seem very interesting. Now they've got cavalry, it kind of changes everything. So if you've got fight 4 things on cavalry, and the war spear that the Knights of Arnor gives them +1 to wound on if they charge. So you've got solid shooting, you've got fight 4 across the board, and you've got, whilst you haven't got anything that goes above strength 3, you have got +1 to wound if you're charging around with your horses. So having the and as well, you could have a few hobbits in there as well, and it starts to look a little bit better with the shooting as well, because you can get your shooting numbers up. Because as rubbish as hobbits are at fighting, chuck a couple of them on a nearby objective, like your closest objective, and just sit there throwing stones or shooting bows, or I think they're a bit better.
At the end of the day, they're there to be. I mean, you don't know. Like they're shooting, they might end up getting the experience, and they might end up getting some decent rolls down the way. But yeah, it's not bad. It's not a bad company to start with. I don't think. I think one reason I never looked at it was just basically because the models just didn't exist. It was just it was absolute fortune to get them. They've re-released them now. It's like 50 quid
Oh yeah, I mean, like, yeah, they were impossible to get hold of for any reasonable sum of money in like the old metal sculpts that there were, and so they did the whole thing with Arnor and Angmar, which is why I've lumped them into this one episode together. And when they released the new models, they're absolutely extortionate. Same with the Angmar stuff. Like, you were paying like 32 quid for 2 nights.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to get 5 nights for a full company, you're looking at you're looking at 100 quid just on nights.
Yeah.
And then I don't know how much the how much the Warriors are, the standard ones, but I'm sure they're not cheap because
no, they're not. The 50-something quid there. I just had them up there a second ago. The 50-something quid Warriors of Arnor Warband on the website at the present moment, and that's
50,
just everyone. 57
quid for 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, and it, I think it's unnecessarily expensive because it's an old, yeah. It feels unnecessarily expensive for them to be like basically £5 a model.
Yeah.
Like, because they're old sculpts. Is that all they've done is just gone, oh, we'll make these again. Oh, I made some. That'll be £57, please. Like, it feels, yeah, like slightly insultingly expensive, but people, I guess people are paid it. But the thing is, I say people are paid it. I was quite excited about all this kind of stuff coming up, and I'll talk about it more so with the Angmar models. But when the prices came up, I'm like, I can't justify it. Like, I think like the werewolves, which you can get in the Angmar company, we'll be talking about in a bit. I think that was something like 25 quid for 2 models. That it's just like, no, because I can go and get a 3D print of a werewolf type model and put it on the right size base for a £5. Like, there's
the most frustrating thing about all of this is just like they've got everything there, to make this amazing for all of us. And they still have the competitions like Warhammer World, but that's the only place where you have to use Warhammer sculpt. Do you get me? Like, anywhere else you can use the 3D print, and off you go. And then just, to me, it makes no sense. Like, why not? I don't know. I don't know how the business model works on there. They've got the IP.
They're worth billions, so they're probably doing it better than we would. But we're on the wrong end of it. But
I don't know what you're on about. We do better.
I'm a self-made millionaire from this podcast alone. No, I think that if you want to do an Arnor company, then there are some great stuff. There's some great prints on Etsy. No one's going to care, and you're not going to be playing at Warhammer World because you're playing battle companies. But yeah, I mean, my biggest. I mean, I think this is a solid company. I'm probably going to give it like somewhere between a 6 and a 7. But I think I would probably never choose to play with them because it just isn't very interesting.
No, it's
I mean, when we contrast in a minute the variety and the special rules and the excitement of Angmar in a minute, it's like chalk and cheese. I mean, I think you can get this company, you can get some upgrades. You're probably going to do a duelist. You're probably going to do a knight as your leader or something. Get him a horse straight away, and maybe if you want to be kind of thematic with the rest of the Arnor army, you're going to choose someone to be Malbeth the Seer, and he can be one of your he can be a sorcerer, just to be a little bit themey, something like that. Maybe you'll choose, you've got good shooting, maybe you'll go down a sharpshooter like that. But like, nothing about it makes me go, yes, I'm super excited to play this.
I'll be honest with you, it's the kind of army that makes me think I'm going to go buy a beige Volvo with beige leather seats with my beige pants and my light blue shirt and my brown belt, like, just because I'm gonna
That's what
play
I'm
it
wearing.
safe. It's no, you're right. It's to me, it's a beige company. It's like there's nothing wrong with it, and you can have some fun with it, but you're limited. There's no, it's not a bad beginner company. Let's be honest. Like, you haven't got lots of things to learn about it. You can get in there and you can play a few different varied kind of things. You get a few horses, and off you go. But it is. I mean, like, it's upsetting. Like, the company hero upgrade and the company special rules. They're limited. There's nothing. There's nothing special about it. Nothing
Yeah,
goes like, oh,
I think the company hero upgrade. It's one of those upgrades that doesn't. You're not going to write home about it, but it's the sort of one that. Look, so let's say you manage to keep your heroes around and you manage to keep your warriors in range of your heroes. It means that if turn one, like first turn that's only broken, you get to use your heroes past their first thing automatically. So that's one turn of being broken, you definitely survive. If the same situation is happening in turn, like the next turn, that's when you have to take your courage test, and you can get through another turn of being broken. So it doesn't guarantee, but it gives you a much better chance of your company hanging around one extra turn. And how many games have we had where it's like come down to like the wire with this sort of thing, and then someone's been broken, and all of a sudden 3 guys have run off, and that's when the turn ends. Whereas if it hadn't, so it's a very baked potato sandwich beige level of
it is like
hero upgrade.
But it's just as much it can work against you. Oh, it is, but it can also work against you. How many times has it been where it's like, if I fail my courage test now, you won't get to kill half my army. I'm still going to get a draw or a win, by running off.
Yeah.
So it's one of them, isn't it? So, but no, it's yeah. Yeah. I probably would never look at this again.
I think it's a slightly more interesting version of Minas Tirith because you've got hobbits, and
yes.
Yeah. Someone says this is them flirting with each other. Is it?
Is it?
You haven't seen us flirt with each other.
Oh, do you want us to?
You don't want to. That's a different podcast. Entirely different podcast. It's on my OnlyFans. God, Jesus, God no. So I think that I will give these a 6.5 out of 10 for how well it will play, and I'll give it I'm going to give it like a 2 out of 10 of how exciting it would be.
I was literally sitting on a 5. I was just this middle ground beige.
Yeah,
it's safe. It's a Ford Transit fan. They'll be insulting a Ford Transit fan. It's like a Vauxhall Corsa, like in a car.
It's. No, I'm not going to say that. It's anniversary sex with your wife of 25 years. It's not very exciting, but you're gonna try and do your best to enjoy it.
Yeah,
because it's gonna get the job done. It's gonna get the job done. It's not gonna be the most exciting thing in the world. You're probably gonna be thinking of a different company. So it's literally no idea where that came from, but there we go. So yeah, that was fun. Angmar. Oh God, I haven't got any water. I've just ran out of water. I can't do a golem. I can't do golem at the best of times. Least of all when I haven't got any water hand. But Stephen, entertain the people for 30 seconds.
I say, What can I do to entertain you? I haven't got a clue what I'm doing here, really. And when he leaves me on my own unattended, God knows what could happen. I have no idea where that.
I have no idea where that.
I'll tell you what. Some of the viewers on YouTube are interesting.
Yeah. Either don't feed the trolls or just don't care what they say,
Yeah.
or both, or maybe they're not trolls, don't care. Moves us on to Angmar, which I have a special place in my heart. They were the first evil company I ever ran, and they were a disaster. Well, they weren't. I'll tell you why in a minute. Anyway, apparently I've got to do this. No, it's not there at all today. As the power of the Witch King of Angmar grew, the realm of Angmar began to wane. Its once proud cities fell into ruin and despair. A prime target for the forces of Angmar to assail and conquer my forces. Under the Witch King's command, orc warbands would attack these fallen cities, delivering them from that dark ruler precious. For only a few orcs would be used to prize the cities from the depleted forces of Arnor. These warbands were led by the most opportunistic of all Angmar orcs, those whose main aim was to plunder, backstab, and murder their way into the head of the Witch King's army. That there are more than mere orcs in these warbands. Orcs and the relentless cries of the orcs lured into their spirits of those long since dead. Now, bound to the Witch King, these would sometimes fight alongside the living king, if the Witch King willed it. God, that just got worse and worse. I just don't have it anymore. I just don't have it.
No. I'll let you off.
No, don't. It was fucking shit. Tell us about the starting battle company.
So, starting battle company. So you get 3 Angmar orcs with shields. You get 2 Angmar orcs with spears. 1 Angmar orc with 2-handed weapon. 1 Angmar orc with orc bow, and 2 wild wargs.
And for your influence reinforcement type stuff, good sentence. 1 will get you nothing. 2 will get you a wild warg. 3 or 4 will get you an Angmar orc with choice of war gear. 5 will get you a warrior of Khan Doom. 6 will get you a roll on the special chart. Now, on the special chart, 1 or 2 will get you an orc tracker. 3 to 4 will get you an Angmar warg rider. A 5 will get you a Deadmarsh spectre, and a 6 will get you a werewolf. Deadmarsh spectres, they are rare 3, so you're allowed 3 of them in your company, and werewolves, so you're only allowed 1. Neither Deadmarsh spectres nor werewolves can gain experience, and therefore can never be heroes. Only in our hearts.
No.
Can they be our heroes? So, advancements.
Tracker. Angmar orc becomes an Angmar warg rider. An Angmar orc with spear becomes an Angmar warg rider with throwing spear, and a wild warg becomes an Angmar warg rider. There you go. You just imagine, just that bit is a wild warg, and I've done really well, and just goes along and picks up an orc and says, "Yeah, with me now," and off we go.
Off we go. Yeah. Company hero upgrade. One of the most fascinating, I think. Gaze of the Dead. Resurrected by the dark power of the Witch King, the hero now possesses the ability to freeze the hearts of its enemies, leaving them rooted to the spot. During its move phase, the hero may target a single enemy model within 6 inches. The target must then take a courage test. If the test is passed, the target is unaffected. If the test is failed, the target may not move for the remainder of the turn.
That's nice.
It's tactically fascinating. Right, before we dive into and I start gushing over Angmar, let's do the stat lines. So after you.
So Angmar Orc has armor and sword with optionals of a bow, shield, and spear. Their movement is 6, fight 3, 5 plus, strength 3, defense 4, attack 1, wounds 1, courage 2.
And then a wild warg has got claws and fangs. Movement 10 inches, fight 3 with a 6 plus for whatever wargy type shooting they fancy doing on a given day. Strength 4, defense 4, 1 attack, 1 wound, and a courage of 2.
A warrior Arcan Dum has armor, shield, and optional spear. They are also glory seekers. This model receives a +1 to their to wound rolls when making strikes against the hero. Oh, nice. Their movement 6, fight 3, 4 plus, strength 4, defense 5, attacks 1, wounds 1, and courage 3.
And then on to the orc tracker. So that has an orc tracker has a dagger and an orc bow with the option of a warg underneath his bum. Movement 6, fight 3, 4 plus for shooting, strength 3, defense 3, 1 attack, 1 wound, and courage of 2.
Then you have Warg Rider. Sorry, I completely lost my page there. Warg Rider. So it's armor, sword, and warg. Optional bow, shield, and throwing spears. I mean, it says Warg Rider movement 6, but it's 10, isn't it, with a warg, isn't it? So
yeah. So the rider is 6 inches and the warg is 10.
Fight 3, 3, 5 plus. Strength 3, defense 4, armor 1, wound 1, and courage 2.
And on to the Dead Marsh Spectres, who have heavy armor and a sword. They have the Blades of the Dead special rule, which means that when they make strikes against when you go to wound them, rather than wounding against their defense, they wound against their courage. They also cause terror, so you have to do a courage test to charge them. And they have the special rule, a fell light is in them. So it has a 12-inch range, and they can choose one model. They can make them take a courage test. If they fail the courage test, then that model can be made to make a full move, even if they have already moved. It can't make them do any like jump tests or leap tests or climb tests, and it can't make them go into combat, but it can move them anywhere else. So really cool. Dead Marsh Spectres, they got movement 6, they are fight 2, they are 5 plus for shooting, strength 3, defense 5, 1 attack, 1 wound, and a courage of 6. And finally, Stephen.
Werewolves. The werewolves have claws and teeth. They terror, fell sight, and they also have a fell charge active. When a werewolf charges an enemy infantry model, they gain the knock to the ground bonus as if they were cavalry. This bonus is lost if they are subsequently charged by an enemy cavalry model. So they get basically to knock people to the ground. Movement 10, fight 5. Ooh. 5 5 plus. Strength 5, defense 5, attack 2, 2 wounds, and courage 5.
So let's look at how long it took us to get through the profiles of them. Like, so you've got so many more options compared to the warriors of Arnor and ranger of Arnor, which might as well be twins. One's a bit better one's a bit better at shooting and whatever. But let's be clear. To start off with, it's a bunch of orcs and a couple of wargs, but your advancements are so much more exciting. So much more exciting.
And the thing is, you've got numbers to start with as well. So it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in your starting battle company compared to it was 7, wasn't it? So you've already got numbers. So to me, having the numbers makes up for the weaker defenses and the bang average fight values. But then, yeah, like you said, the advancements alone, not even the reinforcements influence rolls, but the advancements alone, like, Orc to Orc Tracker, Angmar Orc to Wild Rider, like, and suddenly, like, it's so quick, you'll have half your company in no time running around on wargs, 10 travel, going everywhere, like, and it's just, and that doesn't even touch getting anywhere near these dead marsh specters, the werewolves, the company hero upgrade, like, how tactically sound this company is on so many different levels.
Yeah, so I played this as my first ever evil company when I first started playing this a few years back, and I mean I loved it and it was enjoyable playing with it. However, I was playing against a couple of different companies, but across my whole time, I didn't once roll a single fight value upgrade. So no, not so I got up to 15 models, and all of them were a maximum of fight 3, because this was before there was werewolves or warriors of Kandum or anything like that. No, there were lots of kind of juicy double-handed weapon dudes, and there was some cool stuff on the leader and things like that. But yeah, fight value just did not change. So. And fight value isn't the be all and end all everything, but when you get further down the line with battle companies and you've got a 3 attack hero up against another 3 attack hero, fight value becomes quite an important thing at that point. So yeah, I think that if you can get through the initial grindy bit of the fact that it's just some orcs and some wargs, then this is, I'm going to say it, this might be the most fun company there is.
It's definitely one that rewards you for putting in the effort early doors. But bear in mind, going early doors against any other company, it's not too bad, especially with numbers that you've got. Even like just do wild rat, like that straight away off the bat. Like you've got 10 inch movement with two. Yeah, they're not going to do much. You're just going to charge in and start tromping into things. But you manage to get a wild rag to go up to an Angmar wild rag, a wild rider, like straight away, like bang, bang, bang. You're gaining on it.
Or even more exciting than that, you've got a wild wag to start with, so why not make it a hero? Put it on the path of the beast or the path of the stalker.
Yes.
There aren't that many companies that give you, wargs or spider or anything that you can use the beast hero paths on. So why not take advantage of it? Like, I was doing some working out earlier, and this is assuming that we're playing the previous edition, where there's still special strikes and stuff. So bear with me on this. So if you get a warrior of Khan Doom, I'm saying Doom. I don't know if it's Doom. It's supposed to have an umlaut on it. It doesn't in this. Anyway, and they're strength 4 and a +1 to wound heroes. So up against a hero, that's quite nice to start off with.
Yeah.
Because there's Angmar orcs with 2-handed weapons, that means you can give a warrior of Khan Doom a 2-handed weapon. Which means you could give him a 2-handed axe, which would mean you can do a double-handed piercing strike. So that would be so that would, and up against a hero, you could be strength 5, with +1 to wound because of the hero, and +1 to wound because you're going double-handed. So it'd be strength 5 with +2 to wound. So we up against a defense 5 model, we'd be wounding on 2s. If he was obviously you could only do all of that if he was a hero. But if he was a hero, then he could get up to strength 5. Then his piercing strike would be strength 6 with +2 to wound.
Bloody hell!
So that means you'd be wounding defense 6 on 2s, or defense 4 It would be an auto wound on a defense 4 hero. I mean, I realize this is like very kind of like hypothetical, but that's the sort of thing that's just fun. It's like, oh yeah, like you got him, get him in a fight with another couple of dudes, get some spear support going on, isolate a hero somewhere along the way, or maybe it's like this. If you're a bit later game, which this would have to be, then there are quite a lot of heroes in the making on the board. And all of a sudden, that guy that you thought was like, oh, he's going to be all right. Oh no, he's up against a guy who's got +2 to wound and strength 5. Like, oh no, he's now dead because he was just a dude with like fate. So yeah, I mean, it'd be the absolute ultimate glass cannon type thing. But yeah, I just love this company because the Dead Marsh Spectre thing. I mean, it's unlikely, I think, that you've come up against anything like this, but it's something which really alters how your opponent has to play against you. Because on one hand, you think, okay, well, I'll position myself there. Like, okay, cool, fair enough, put yourself there. And then the Dead Marsh Spectre goes, yeah, I can see you, and I'm just going to charge you out into the middle of nowhere, and we're just going to swarm you. And because the Dead Marsh Spectres, their fight value is 2. They're not there to be, to rip them to pieces. But you've got a Dead Marsh Spectre that can move people around at will. Not quite at will, but it's like a spell that you don't have to spend any will points to cast. You can just do it as many times as you want. Yeah. So you've got, if you get your positioning right, and you've got a situation where you've got a Dead Marsh Spectre that can move someone out, and then you've got a werewolf which is strength 5, defense 5, fight 5. Cool, that guy there, move him out, cool, and now the werewolf can now, you thought you were safe from him because of your positioning, and now you're not because I've just done that to you.
But it's even on the other way, like someone's coming in to attack you and you put those specters around whatever it is you're defending, they can, suddenly this attack says 5 things coming in, they'll be able to push, if you had 2 of them, they'll be able to push 2 of them away, suddenly, your counter against it. It's very tactically interesting. What's nice as well is that 12-inch range. So horses, nothing can get, it's that kind of balance, isn't it? Like, how far away that you've got them from you. You can always keep yourself out, so if you failed, they've still got to make another move to get into you, and you can still move them away. So it's still, there's a lot in there. It is interesting. It's like with that, and then like you got the Gaze of the Dead as well, and these, just it's not just a fighting army; it's a thinking. Battle company. It's not a fighting battle company, just a fighting battle company. It's a thinking battle company as well. You have to think when you play against them.
Yeah, 100%. Because whether it's because of the Dead Marsh Spectre thing or the Gaze of the Dead, company hero upgrade, with either of those, once they've made the move, or whether they, if it's the hero upgrade, they cannot move again that turn. So if you're playing in a situation where there's a bit more scenery going on, it's a bit tighter with things, then all of a sudden that, if you target the person at the front and they fail their courage test, they then can't move. And if they're at the front and there's no space either side of them, because maybe they thought they were being clever with their positioning, whatever, and there's no space to the left or right, or it's a thin bottleneck. It's like, cool, those 4 guys that were behind that were going to do something, they can't do anything now because this guy can't move, and you can't move models through each other. So yeah, that's you stuck there. So I'm you can get you, if you're both racing to an objective, say, that can be the difference between who gets there first and who gets there second. Downsides, shooting,
and they were awkward to start with. Like, it's that, like, but I think we're shooting and shooting. It's you've got you've only got 1 bow to start with. It's just if you roll, you get choice of 4 gear. So there's not many people that you're going to end up having shooting in it.
Yeah, I mean, when I used them, I was probably naive in thinking that shooting was not terrible. It is with orcs, it's honesty shots. However, I think it's kind of nearly counteracted by the fact that you've got, you have got wild riders and they have got throwing spears, so you can, in theory, either use your throwing spears charging in, or alternatively, if there's something 18 inches away, you can move 10 inches and then you can throw a throwing spear 8 inches.
Yeah.
Yes, it'll be hitting on a 6. Let's not pretend it's not, but it's a 1 in 6 chance of giving a strength 3 hit, which is, it's something to be thinking about, and it also changes slightly how your opponent has to think about where they're going to position themselves. They go, oh yeah, I'll position myself just there. Oh yeah, you're 6 inches away, or so you're 7 inches away. You're more than 6 inches away. I don't care. I've got a throwing spear. I can just still throw a throwing spear at you.
Yeah,
you're on an objective, and I'm not quite there. Cool, I've got a throwing spear. I'm probably not going to hit, but it's something which has to be, thought about.
Yeah.
So,
but those kind of things, though, although they may not hit me, when you're defending against that kind of thing, you have to make the decision: am I going to keep the person in the open? Am I going to do this? They could do that. It's even just at that point to give the opposition person that added point of thinking. They're like, am I going to risk this? I know it's like, it's a 1 in 6, but it's still a 1 in 6. Like, it's not a 0 in 6.
It's not impossible. Yeah. So if I was to run this company again with these kind of new rules, I would be ignoring the orc with bow, because I'd want him to get the advancement, which takes him up to an orc tracker, because that puts his shooting up to 4+ rather than 5+. So he would definitely not be a hero. I would definitely have a one of the wargs being on the path of the beast or the path of the stalker. Probably the path of the beast. I would think. I'd probably have an Angmar orc with shield as my leader on probably something like path of the general, because I feel like getting, courage is going to be an issue, and so if you can get a general model there who gets his fight value up and gets his stand pass bigger and gets his, maybe gets a banner effect, be cool. And probably something like, a warrior or a duelist or something like that, that's just a bit more, try and make one of them a bit more fighty. But it's not the initial models that you're going to be that excited about. It's going to be the advancements.
And it's also one of those things like, yes, you would get, obviously the improvements on your models, but it's the other models which are already just out the box off the start, strong models. Or have already got juicy things in there as well, like, So it's what's quite nice is like, obviously you'd have, a path, hero in the making, and then so on and so forth and everything like that. It takes time, whereas you just a couple dice rolls and you could already have something that's got a load of juice to, you've got those to get into it, who wants to increase their game and have a bit of fun, someone who can remember rules, so not me. No, but it's but it's yeah, it's definitely a juicy little company. It is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking through the different paths and wondering about, whether I might do it differently to how I just said, but I do like the idea of one of them being a defender or maybe a martyr, just because it just makes it is more rules to remember. But I quite like companies that have got special rules and stuff and things to think about, this because it can, it, like I said, it makes them more delicious and flavoursome.
How about minstrel? Get one of them as minstrel. Just add some more stuff. Melody, disdain, melody, despair. Like, you know.
I mean, with the tweaks they made to the minstrel path, it's not a terrible option. I just wonder what an orc minstrel would sound like. Just
fucking awful.
I mean, I'm probably the sort of music I tend to listen to most of the time, So
yeah,
maybe. Yeah, I'm just wondering Path of the Beast. See, look, this is already just so much more interesting to even consider than the Arnor warriors. Like, yeah, I think, yeah, Path of the Beast. I think.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Path of the Beast there. And just could you imagine getting terror, more terror, like all that,
more terror,
more terror,
even
but
more
it's
terror.
just...
Oh, and the other thing with that's if you can get a werewolf and a dead marsh spectre in combination, because the other thing is that when we skipped over it with the werewolves is that they've got the fell sight special rule, which means that they don't have to have line of sight in order to charge. So
yes,
it's not even that Path of the Beast, a roll of a 9 gets fell sight for your warg hero. So it's not even that they have to be fully brought out into view; they just have to be brought closer. So you can put dead marsh spectres up. I'm quite a fan of there being some height in scenery and stuff like that, a bit of height variation. Put a dead marsh spectre up somewhere central in the battlefield, 12-inch range all around of like what you can see. And just go, yeah, you're going to move. There's a chance I'm going to move you here now. There's a chance I'm going to move you here now. And it would just completely, like, you have 3 of them. You could have full central battlefield control. Because, like, well, I don't want to move him there because then they might fail that courage test. And unless you're fighting elves at courage 5, and then you just screwed, maybe. But yeah, I mean that's the downside to the dead marsh spectres, that it is a courage test, and if you're playing against something that's courage 4 plus, under the old rules of what courage means, then people are going to pass more often than they're going to fail. But it's when they fail, because it's a free special rule to use each turn. If they do fail, then yeah. But
it's the fact that it's free as well. It doesn't cost anything at the end of the day. And as much as they are, like you were saying, they're fight 2, but they're still not bad. Defense 5, heavy armor, sword. Like if they end up in the battle, they're not.
Well, my experience of them is that you really don't want them getting anywhere near a fight, because they will lose and then they will die. And you don't if you're putting them into a fight, then you want to be doing them as part of a block. You want them to be having a spear support and another model in there as well. So you've got 3. So you've got 3 attacks going into the fight. Better chance. You want to try and get your 3-on-1s, 2-on-1s going on. So, because if it does come down to it, and they're against someone who has got courage 3, then you're wounding on 4s. So they're defense 6, courage 3. Like, is that what Arnor was? Let me double check. So if he's up against an Arnor warrior, defense 6 but courage 2. So your strength 3 warrior is wounding on 4s.
Yeah, as
opposed to 6s.
It's not bad. I think
it goes from a 1 in 6 to a 50-50. It's triples your odds of wounding. So it's they're a really good all-round company. They all against a high courage army like elves. It's not very much fun. because you don't get to get the advantage of all of the nice things that you want to be able to use, particularly. However, elves are never fun to play against for anyone. So
no, I was literally going to say that, like, elves are hard work no matter who or what you are. Like, but like you said, your, the extra special rules, the juicy little bits of it against elves are, you don't get to use them. You don't get to use those extra, which is.
Yeah. So I'm going to give this Angmar version a 9 out of 10. And the only reason it isn't higher is because of the initial grind. But
yeah,
I think there's just, and if we're going to rate them on fun, I'm going to give them a 10. There's so much fun to be having with them.
I think I'm the same as you there. I'm definitely like, a 9 out of, well, they look fun and they look interesting. I definitely think it's now, having been in the game, I haven't played it a while, but it's one of those ones now looking, if I was to come back into, and pick up a new company, they're definitely up on the list. The cat with a sunflower.
So a little visitor wearing her collar of shame. I'm just checking something as well. No. I don't know what the new rules are about who can, because I'm just looking at the type of unit that a werewolf is, and it's classed as a beast. I don't know if that means it can do brutal power attacks or anything, or if that's just monsters. So I haven't got the new rule book. So
I should probably leave it off to you. I haven't read it in the last. I've been so busy with work. I haven't looked into it anymore.
No. Yeah. Well, a warg is classified as a beast as well, and wargs can't do that, so probably not. But yeah, anyway, that would be too much fun if that was something as well. It is making me want to play Angmar a lot, both in the full game and as a company. So yeah, you're not supposed to be up here, little duck. Sorry, just talking to my cat. Yeah. Anyway, so in summary, Arnor are solid, but yeah. If we're going to go down the car analogy route, then Arnor are a beige Volvo with just a tiny bit of gold trim, like not a lot, just subtle, just subtle, just enough to make you think that you're doing something really fun. But
showing a bit of angle.
Yeah, they'll get you there safely, home on time, to go and have your boring sex with your boring wife or husband. So that's what Arnor are, and Angmar is a
Need for Speed.
No, it's a dodgily converted Ford Transit van with a bed in the back. Look, is it gonna get you there on time? Maybe. Is it going to be difficult to drive? Yes, it is. Is there the chance of a lot of fun once you get there? Absolutely, there is. There you go. That analogy works. So you can decide what sort of person you are, but no, I think Arnor are very beginner friendly. In the most part, not a lot to remember. And their +1 to wound Angmar makes them a bit filthy. It would be really interesting to do an Arnor Angmar, series of Shotgun Angmar for me. Thanks. You can have Arnor.
Look, I will dress head to toe in beige with my little paddy hat and my belt, and I will have my beige sketch trainers and my beige socks. And yeah, I will talk about my golf scores and
Sounds great. Now,
and my prostate.
And the results of your most recent prostate exam.
Exam, yeah.
I mean, yeah, whatever works, mate. Yeah. So that's what I think about all that. So, anything else to say on all of it?
No, no. I think that's everything there. I think the Angmar very interesting, Arnor very beige, but yeah, it's like I said, like you said, Arnor is a good beginner company. Very strong, get you there. Angmar is a bit more spicy, a bit more fun. I think you've got to play the battle company or two to understand the rules a bit, but definitely worth having a go. It's a bit more fun and it's a bit more, a little bit more Swiss Army knife. You can do a few more things, but it does have a couple dull blades in it. So yeah.
Yeah. So that is it from this episode of Good Enough Battle Companies podcast. I'm just looking down and seeing what we'll be talking about in our next episode in a couple of weeks' time, and it will be Lake Town and Goblin Town.
Goblin Town's a bit.
So Lake Town is lots of Lake Town militia, and it forces you to have Lake Town guards as your hero models. So no choice there. And Goblin Town is lots of goblins.
Wow.
So Lake Town gives you a 20 limit on your company, and Goblin Town gives you 25, I think. But it's literally just lots of goblins. So, I mean, that's basically. We don't need to do that now. We've basically covered it.
There you go. Loads of goblins.
Loads of goblins. Backstabbers.
No. That's it. Well, oh my god, is that it? Literally, there's nothing in their sheet.
Yeah, I mean, let's do it now. It's loads of goblins and cool.
Loads of goblins, 200 weapons. Goblin becomes a mercenary. Oh my god, there's nothing. I feel we need to do another one.
Maybe. Well,
no. As well. I feel like we could speed through that in like 2 minutes.
We'll do three. What's the other one after Lake Town? Because there are more good companies than evil companies. So I'll start after Lake Town. The Last Alliance. So that's again, that's a pretty short one. So yes, that's what we'll do. 3 companies next time. We will be doing Lake Town. We'll be doing the Last Alliance, and we will be doing Goblin Town. And
there we go.
Yeah, that's about it, really.
That's it. Well, no, thank you everyone for listening. We've had a few people watching us the whole way through, it looks like. So thanks for being on.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, then it's a bit late.
Yeah, let's do
a bit late.
Or drop.
Should have thought that.
Or drop comments and
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you for another episode in 2 weeks' time.
Perfect.
Take care.
Bye. Cheers. Bye.